Hey sweet friends, I'm at Hobby Lobby and I have to show you this. Ooh, how cute is that? Look at this. $39.99. I'm gonna show you guys how to make this thing for 10 bucks. Stay tuned. Hey sweet friends, look at our cute project today. Oh man, I'm so excited about this one. Hey listen, it's a $10 project. This footed riser is just adorable. I love these things so much. They're so functional and we're gonna use this in so many different ways around the house. So listen, get your nibble, get your sip, get cozy, and let's get crafting. Hey sweet friends, I am so glad you are here right now because we are gonna make today the cutest project. It is a single tier footed riser. I love the 3-tier risers, the 2-tier risers, but I have a spot that I want a single tier riser. And I went to Hobby Lobby and I found one and it was $39.99. I'm like, $39.99? No way! Hey, listen, we are creative and we can make it for just probably right around $10. So what I did is I bought a beveled wooden plaque at Hobby Lobby and it was $1.99, 50% off, so it was $1. The candlestick I got at Michael's. I paid $3 unfinished. And then the wood round, the nice thick wood round, Hobby Lobby, 50% off, $5. So we are set to go here. So what do we have? $9 in this project. And the one at Hobby Lobby, it was $40. And it's not going to be near as nice. It's the finish on it. It looked a little cracked and stuff. So here we go with this one, you guys. What I like to do sometimes, not all the times, and this is just kind of a, see how you feel about it. But what I'm going to do with this one, I'm actually going to stain it with Jacobine stain, let that dry, and then I'm going to go over it with some chalk paint and then just kind of distress it back a little bit to where some of this beautiful stain is showing through. I just wanted to give it that extra element of depth since I'm using the unvarnished natural wood here. Just when I sand it back, I just want it to have that real rich feeling to it. So this is how you achieve that. Whatever stain you have, use it. I love Jacobine. That's kind of my go-to stain. It's dark, it's beautiful, and I love it. So I've got a little bit of cheesecloth here. Of course, I got my trusty gloves on. And I am just going to put a coat of stain on this. And we are going to be sanding it off, so you don't have to get perfect with it. Now, by all means, if you're thinking like, hey, I like it just stained, I don't want to do a painted finish, then this would be it. You would just stain it and then follow the directions as to how we put it together. Win for you. But I'm going to do both applications, stain and paint. And I'm not necessarily going to stain the bottom because you're not going to see it. So let's get that one done. Looks good. Now I'm going to move on to the candlestick, and I'm not going to stain the top or the bottom because it's going to be glued onto the wood. So I'm just going to go ahead and come around here, get the sides real good. I love these projects, you guys. I am just absolutely just digging on them. There's just so much fun to create beautiful tablescapes and just elevate your decor a little bit. It's just awesome. And when we can do them ourselves for just a fraction, go for it. So good. Okay, so I'm just putting a stain on this one, making sure to get into all the little grooves here because this one's got some pretty good routing on it. So I want to make sure that I got all that covered. And the sides, because you will see the sides. You're not going to see the top or bottom, but you will definitely see the sides. Got a little spot in here that I need to, you know what, that might be a little bit of glue from when they put it together, and that's fine. Because like I said, we're going to be covering it with white paint anyway. Okay, sit that off to the side. Now let's get the Big Daddy. These wooden rounds are absolutely a gem of a find. I do the signs. I use my Cricut machine and do signs and use these rounds. And I like the thickness of them. They just have a good hearty feel to them. And, for anywhere, you can get the bigger ones at Home Depot and Lowe's for under $10. And then these at Hobby Lobby, they go 50% off and you snag them. Get what you need. Okay. Just going around here and just putting stain on around the edge. And like I said, this is not a furniture finish, but I do want it to be covered. Okay, I am going to come around the bottom here because you will see that. I'm going to go ahead and just slather that stain around here. Jaco Bean is my favorite stain. It's dark and it's beautiful. Okay, right down around in here in the middle is about where the candlestick's gonna go. So I'm gonna leave that naked just so the glue's gonna stick a little bit better. Okay, so we have that. It's beautiful. Now this is gonna sit for a little bit. I'm actually gonna show you how it's gonna be. So we're gonna have the base, and then we're gonna have the candlestick, and then we're gonna have the top. So this is how beautiful this little guy is gonna be. So at this point, if you wanted to be done, you could be done. How about that? How amazing is that? But I'm gonna keep going with it and do the next step. But I think it's a beautiful profile, and I'm really excited to get this stain dry so we can get going with it. Okay, I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, everybody, our stain is dry. We've got our 2 round stain, we've got our candlestick stained. Now what we're gonna do is we are going to paint it. And I have the Bear Chalk paint. I love this stuff. You can get it at Home Depot. And what I really love about it is you can actually custom color your paint there. They have a white and a dark base. So if you want to do a real dark chalk paint, you can do it. If you want the whites or the lighters, any light color. So that makes it really, really super, super slick when you're trying to do custom pieces. And you go out and you don't, necessarily find, if you're doing an Annie Sloan chalk paint or something like that, you don't always get the color that you want. Well, this way, no matter what color you want, they will mix it custom color for you. So that is a bonus, bonus, bonus. Okay, I've been painting out of this can for quite a while, and it goes a long, long way. So that's also a really great thing too. So what we're gonna do is I wanted to have like a distressed finish on this, and I do like how the paint looks when you cover a stained wood. So let's get going with this so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I might need to water this down a little bit. We'll see. Oh, nope, it's gonna cover perfect. So I'm not sure if this is gonna take 1 or 2 coats. Regardless, we've got all day here. I'm just kidding. These projects go by really, really quick. That's one of the beautiful things about these little DIYs is they really don't take that much time to do. Really, the longest period is the drying time. Okay, so you can use your heat gun, you can use a blow dryer to expedite that, and I do that. As a matter of fact, I've got my heat gun right here, and I probably will use it to expedite the drying time. Okay, this is covering good. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and hit the sides. I'm just gonna hold it up like a pizza. I'm gonna hold it up like a pizza pie and get the sides here. And if you want more of a rustic distressed finish, you can absolutely just kind of dry brush it. Like you could just go like that and leave some of the stained wood showing. That would look awesome. It really would. I'm gonna go ahead and cover it just a little bit more, but I do have a sanding block here and I will be sanding back quite a bit of the paint. But for this, I don't know, I was just thinking, you know what? Cover it pretty good and then we can always sand back what we don't want. But dry brushing it is a really good secondary technique for you. And hey, like I said, if you just want to, paint it without stain, you could do that. Or if you want, you could just, keep a stain on it, whatever you like. This is drying. I'm using a chalk paint. It dries really, really quick and it's super forgiving. Okay, there we are. Okay, let's do the little guy. I mean, I've got, with the 3 wood pieces, we got $10 into this thing. So that's wonderful. That's a wonderful DIY project for, $10. Yeah. Now, mind you, I did already have the paint and I already had the stain. So if you had to buy that, then I would just recommend buying real small, like the sample sizes of the chalk paint or just a real small can of stain. Because you don't necessarily, unless you're going to do a lot of these projects, you don't necessarily need to have, big quantities, but I recommend follow along with me and let's just keep doing these projects and just get the big sizes because you're going to need them for all the fun stuff that we have planned. Okay, so there's that little guy. That painted up really easy. Touching up the side here. Okay, now the candlestick. And you know what? I probably am going to pop the heat gun on this and then we'll see if we need a second coat, okay? So I'm going to come in here, get this guy. And I'm not painting the tops or bottom because I'm going to be gluing those, the three pieces together. So I don't necessarily want to have to fight with a painted finish. It may not want to stick real good. And I am just going to use E6000 to put these three pieces together. If you want to use a nail gun, you could use a nail gun, you could screw them together. I did not want to see the screws or the nail marks, so that's why I'm just going to go ahead and use the E6000. And I'm going to distress my pieces, get everything painted and distressed the way I want it. Then I'm going to put the three pieces together, and then I'm going to sit something heavy on the top of it just to hold it down a little bit, and that'll help you know, the E6000 to dry a little bit. I don't really know. I don't think you could use a clamp with it. Maybe you could. Maybe there's somehow you could use a clamp. I'm just going to sit a heavy can of this paint or the stain or something on it to help hold it down a little bit. I think that's going to be perfectly fine. Okay, dokie. This is looking amazing here. And I think it's funny because I put gloves on. You ought to see my hands. They're terrible. I gave up, you know, getting the fancy nails and stuff years ago because I'd get them done and then I'd end up painting a piece of furniture or something. And I'm like, well, that was a waste of 70 bucks. They look terrible the next day. You know what? There's trade-offs, right? I'd rather do this kind of stuff than worry about my manicure. Okay, so let's let that cutie dry. Let's come back to this, and I am going to pop my heat gun on it just so I can flip it over real quick and do the bottom side of it. You can also use a blow dryer, okay? And if we were just waiting for this stuff to dry on its own, it would probably take about 45 minutes is all. But this heat gun, boy, I love this thing. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to flip this over, and now look what I did, is I went ahead, just by dumb luck, I took the candle holder, and I just stuck it on here, and then I took my ruler, and I measured all the way around, and it was exactly 4 inches from the center, and I was like, man, I better buy a lottery ticket. That never happens to me. So I went ahead and I quick drew a circle around it so I know where to put the candle holder, but normally you would do it a little bit more scientifically. You'd measure it, and then you'd find your center point, and then you'd want to find the center of this. But since I'm not drilling through it, it didn't really make sense to do it that way. So I thought, you know what, let's eyeball it and then maneuver the ruler around, and it worked great. I mean, it was spot on. It was like right dab in the middle, first time out of the gate. So I was really excited about it. Oh boy. Maybe I will need to get that lottery ticket. I think that's a good idea. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of come around here. There again, I don't want to fight with paint with my E6000. I need, you know, that bare surface. The bare paint is going to, the bare wood is going to hold that E6000 a lot better than a painted surface. Okay, there we've got that. And that looks good. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to pop the heat gun on this. Okay, let's do that real quick. Make short work of it again. And just go ahead and put it on high. Look at it dry. Look at this. I will do a second coat. I think it's going to need a second coat. I'm going to go ahead and do these little guys while I have them out. But they look good. You can see the stain peeking through. And like I said, if you want a real distressed look, just go ahead and sand back some of the paint. There we go with that one. Now I'm going to flip this over and let's look at this side. Yep, it's going to take a second coat for my liking. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Second coat always goes on a lot quicker and takes a lot less paint. They call the first coat, when you're doing anything like this, they call it the crumb coat. And that's why we're not trying to have it look perfect. And a mistake that a lot of times people make when they're painting something, be it a wall or a decorative piece, is they want that first coat to have a ton of coverage. So they keep going over it back and forth and not letting it dry in between. It's better to do 2 light coats than 1 big heavy coat, because you're just not going to get the end appearance and product that you want. So you know what? Patience is just a good thing. It really is. It's just good to be patient with these little things, especially when you're painting walls. You know, do that first light coat, let it dry, and then just come back in with the second, and you're going to be so much happier with your the finished product. And you know what? It takes a little bit of effort, but it's always worth it in the end. Okay. My sweet dad was a painter, and he taught us how to paint, how to wallpaper. At one time in his life, he had a wallpaper installation company, and he, it's so funny because he taught us how to do it, and then he said, don't call me again because I don't like doing it. I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'm going to teach you how to do it right, and then don't call me again. It was funny, but he always helped. He was always a good helper. But I love painting. I love painting walls. I love painting furniture. Anything with paint, I love it, man. It's my jam. And maybe I learned a little patience from him along the way. He was a patient man. That guy was a saint. We call him Pap. Pap was a saint. Okay, this is good. I like the way the second coat covered. Let's set that aside. Let's come back in with this one. Give it its second coat. And then we're going to put it together. After we get the second coat on these cuties, we're going to put it all together and have our little footed riser. And this is just going to be another piece to complement my tablescape, or use it in a million different places. I'll show you. We're going to use these things in a million different places. They're good for, if you need to elevate. I like tablescapes that are elevated to give a little bit of, so that everything's not so flat, just to give it some dimension and just a little bit more interest. And this is the perfect way to do that. Or you know what, if you want to, serve some food on it, then all you do is you just put some wax paper down and then just load it up with cookies or cupcakes or whatever you want. You can definitely use it for functional purposes like, serving too. Okay. Not going to get too concerned with inside the grooves a lot because I'm going to end up sanding it back. So it's not going to really, you're not going to really notice it that much. Okay. So there we have that. You know what? I am going to go ahead and put a little second coat on this. Might as well do it right. Here I tell you guys, let's be patient and do it right. No shortcuts. And then I was thinking about it, so I'm glad I caught myself there. I think you guys would have said, hey, what are you doing, girl? You're not really going to see this, but just in case, it's better to be safe than sorry. I don't like when you flip something over and it just looks really tacky on the bottom. And for those of you that are crafters and you do it for a living and you want to make money off of it, I say definitely take the extra 5 minutes and finish off your stuff well, and it's going to set you aside, set your stuff apart from the next guy. Little details like that. And I'll tell you what, these things sell like hotcakes in different markets. You go into your nicer little home decor shops. These things are pricey. We're just drying that up real quick. Okay, let's set that aside. Pop the heat gun on this. Okie dokie. I think that is good. Yep. Okay, now what we're going to do, double check. Okay, this all looks good. what I have here is I've got a variety of sandpaper. This one is a 220, and I do not know what my sanding blocks are. This one is pretty heavy duty. This is a pretty coarse one. So I'm gonna start off with the 220, and I'm just gonna go across the top. And I just wanna see, I want the detailing around the edge for sure. Okay, I like that. Now I'm just gonna kind of come through here, and I'm gonna pick up some of the paint, and it's gonna pull up the paint off of the stain, and that is gonna peek through, and that's the effect that I want. Let me try this little heavier guy and see what it's doing. And you just play around with the different sandpaper blocks or the different grits of sandpaper to get the appearance that you want. I'm gonna go around the edge here real quick. I'll be definitely getting a vacuum cleaner out for sure after this. There's our first little piece done, and that's what I want. Let's set that aside. And now let's do the candle holder here. Distressing the edges here. And I like how the stain, how that paint came off, and you can just see the stain peeking through. If I would have done this without staining it and tried to get that distressing, it would not have really looked good on that light naked wood. Let's come around in here. You want that? See how that just kind of distressed that up? It's exactly what I want. I love that look. Now let's go ahead and do the other part here. Let's see, let's pull that up. Okay, I've got that piece done, and I love how it looks going around. I think it's perfect. So I've got the base done. I've got the candlestick done, which is our center component of this, and they look amazing. I love this. Now what I want to do is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm done with the paint, so I'm going to go ahead and put my brush in water and pop the lid on that just so I don't get more sand, my sanding dust in that paint. That would be terrible. Okay, so here's the top. So what I'm gonna do with this is I am gonna go over it with the 220, and then I'm gonna go over it with the sanding block to just kind of pull up more of that paint off the stain. So here we go. You see that? That's what I want. That is the detailing that I'm looking for. That little distressed edge. Now, back in here, get the heavier duty guy. It's taken a little muscle. I should have got a little heavier grit sandpaper out. I thought the sanding block was going to work. It's just not quite enough, so it's going to take me a little bit more elbow grease to get it where I want it, but that's okay. Still going to work great. I like it. See that? That's what I want. Okay, that's the top, and I think it looks perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. I like the distressing around the edge. I like the grain coming through the top there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just give the bottom just a little light sand, just kind of taking off the edges here. But I'm not getting too focused on the bottom because you're really not gonna see it. But I still want it to look like I went ahead and gave it some love. Okay, she is done. Now I'm gonna take my mess and kind of clean up my mess a little bit before we start gluing these 3 pieces together. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe some of the dust off of these. Now for the bottom one, I'm gonna just kind of eyeball it. And I normally don't do that, but it's gonna be just about an inch. Once I put this on, right in the center, I went ahead and I got a ruler out, and I bet it's just gonna be just about an inch all the way around. It really is an inch. So I'm just gonna kind of go around and just measure that 1 inch. And that's going to be pretty much, it's an inch. That worked out perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my pen. Oh, I got a pencil here. I'm going to go ahead and just draw my circle around there. Just not all the way around, but enough. Okay, now I know exactly where I need to go with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some E6000. And I am going to put just a dollop of hot glue just to hold it together while the E6000 dries. Sometimes I don't use this very often, and the top wants to stick. So that's when we have to get the lineman pliers out. So whatever, you know, that worked out fine. That worked out just fine. Okay, so now E6000 on here. This stuff is awesome. And to that, and we're gonna move quickly, I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit of hot glue. And this is actually, my glue sticks are Gorilla Glue, so that works good. They work out really good. Make sure I got that lined up. I do. Okay, put my ruler on it. 1 inch, 1 inch. 1 inch, 1 inch. Looks good to me. What do you think, you guys? Hey, all right. Now, same thing on this one. We're gonna flip it over. I've got my circle right there. So we're just gonna go like this. Okay, and if you want, I can come back in and touch up that white paint after it's glued on. I didn't want to get too close to it and cover up my line. Okay, so here we go. Let's put the E6000 down. Generously. I used a generous amount of that. Now we're going to do just a couple little dots of the hot glue. And you don't want the hot glue to touch the E6000. Okay. There we are. Yes. Now hold that down really good just till that hot glue adheres. And we're almost done. We're almost done. How quick and wonderful and easy was this? Okay. Look at that. Look at our adorable footed riser. You know what, you guys? This is going to be multifunctional, multi-purpose. You know what? This is going to be one of my favorite little things that I'm going to decorate with. I'm going to do so much with this. So there we go. Then give it a nice little press. Hey, you know what, sweethearts? The sky is the limit with this. You can paint it any color. You can stain it any color. However your beautiful imagination decides to take you with this, do it. And you'll be so glad. You know what? So we got $10 in this, not including the stain and the paint, but you know what? You know, maybe you have stain and paint around. And if, like I said, if you have to go out and buy stain and paint for just 1 or 2 projects, just get the small little containers of it. So that is that. I am really loving this so very much. Drum roll. I think it's perfect. So listen, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this wonderful little project. I have so many more ideas to share with you guys, and I can't wait for us to, get together for the next little episode of what are we going to do next to make our house just even that much more lovelier. So there you go, sweet friends. Hey, do something kind for yourself, and I'll talk with you later. Bye.